So stop comparing yourself to other people's grief. There are no stages of grief for the grievers.
Mm-hmm.
Stages of grief are for the people dying. And what ends up happening is when we do the stages of grief for people that are grieving, we end up comparing our grief or thinking we are on some timeline, which we are not. And it ends up just stunting our healing and stunting our growth because we feel like we should be somewhere. We feel like we're doing it wrong.
Mm.
And that's really not the case.
Hello, 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 beautiful. Welcome back to the Unperfected Pod. I am so happy and grateful that you are here. Guys, I had the most extraordinary weekend this past weekend. My son Camden graduated college. We had college festivities all day on Thursday. They had like the major commencement at CU at 8:30 in the morning. And then we had his girlfriend's graduation party. And then they had a musical performance. And then the music school had their own ceremony. So that was just like tears and just moments of gratitude and pride. And so many people came. This is my best. This was my favorite thing about the last week is how many people came out of the woodwork, whether they came up to me personally at his graduation or I had made a post on the CU parents page, as well as my personal pages about our story. Me having Camden 22 years ago, me deciding like, I'm going to have this baby. I'm going to do what it takes to put him through college and making that last payment and like just who he is and how proud I am of him. I cannot tell you how many people came out of the woodwork and was like, Camden left this imprint on me or my class. Like it was his second grade teacher. It was his peers' parents who've been watching him play music the last 4 years. It was people that came up to him where I was witnessing, and you can tell that they genuinely looked up to Camden, like, and the way that he handled himself with such grace and poise and just a loving freaking nature. And y'all, I'm just saying, like, parenting is hard, but we live for these moments where your heart is just going to burst out of your chest because you're so proud of your kids. And then we went into Saturday, we had a graduation party for him at the house. And so that was beautiful. We invited friends and family, and it was just Chloe had her best friend here. So she was having the time of her life. My dad, my husband, and my son and my brother stayed up till like 3 or 4 in the morning playing darts and pool. And I know how much my husband values that quality time. It was just stunning and gorgeous. And then we went into Mother's Day, which was beautiful. And then we went into Camden's birthday. So y'all, it has been a marathon and I'm exhausted, but my heart is so full. And I know you mamas get it. So I want to talk about it. Let's see. So going into this week, my loves, the announcement that I want to make is about VidMe. Social Goats has rebranded to VidMe, which is actually so exciting, so much better. There was some trademark stuff coming up. But if you have been thinking about inquiring about VidMe, joining VidMe, VidMe is going to be the next YouTube, guys. It is going to be a place where you can come as a creator and access hundreds of thousands of new people. It is a place that you can come as a member and for $35 a month, get my content and every other creator's content. It's going to be like a TikTok meets a masterclass or a Mind Valley meets a Patreon. It is a place where creators and their communities can share content and make money. So for that $35 a month, you can become a member, but you also can become an affiliate. So if you share the program, if you share the platform and people join, you can make money. So if you're somebody out there that's already been sharing my podcast, first of all, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. But come play with me on VidMe because for $35 a month, you can share my content and a million other creators' content and you can make money. One little example I want to give you. If you bring 12 people to the platform, just 12, I've already hit that number, and they bring 12 people to the platform each, you'll make an extra $2,754 a month just sharing content that helps raise the consciousness of the planet. So Reach out to me if you have questions. People can enroll for free right now because we are not even launched yet. I am so excited about this platform, this opportunity. I have been creating special content for VidMe. I am also going to do a membership at VidMe. So for $35 a month, you can join me on VidMe for weekly coaching calls. So if you've been like, Brooke, I want to get in your world, but I just can't make the mastermind happen, and I can't make the one-to-one happen, and I can't make whatever, y'all, this is a beautiful opportunity to come and grow and be in one of my containers. I'm going to show up once a week. It's going to be like, it's going to have a curriculum. It's going to be gorgeous for freaking $35 a month. And you won't only get my my membership, you will get the content of every other creator. So whether you're someone who's a content creator or just someone who loves personal development and wants to make money sharing it, join VidMe. The affiliate link is in the show notes. Ask me any questions on Instagram that you have, but this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity to catch this wave as it's about to take off. Okay, that's enough for that. Let's get into this week's juicy conversation with my friend, Marta Napoleone Mazzoni. She is a grief specialist, an intuitive life coach, a meditation guide, speaker, and host of the award-winning podcast, Marta on the Move. And she talks about the kind of grief that high-achieving women carry in silence. And so in this juicy conversation, we talk about the myth of moving on and why grief is actually a spiral. We talk about how perfectionism and pressure keep us emotionally frozen. We talk about what it looks like to be able to hold the duality of life, both sorrow and joy at the same time. And we talked about how Marta personally turned her own devastating losses into power, purpose, and full-bodied expression. If you're someone who's experiencing any sort of grief right now, this is the show for you. If you're experiencing any wave of big emotion and you want some tools and some honest conversation, then I hope this podcast serves you well. Enjoy, my loves. Hey, babe, I'm Brooke Jean, licensed therapist, coach, mama, and your straight-talking guide to ditching the pressure and living a life unperfected. I've coached some of the top C-suite women in America, women leading billion-dollar companies while secretly falling apart. I've been her. I blend psychology, neuroscience, and energetics with lived experience to help high-achieving women actually heal so that they can access their infinite energy, creativity, and vitality. If you're a perfection-obsessed woman who's checked every damn box, career, family, house, 401k, but still feels low-key dead inside, you're in the right place. Here, we rip off the good girl mask, call out the BS, and build a life that actually feels like yours. We talk healing, we talk revealing, we talk rising, and we do it raw, real, and unfiltered. This is the Unperfected Pod. Welcome back, Mama, to the Unperfected Pod. I'm Brooke Jean, your host, and I am so excited to invite Marta to the show. Marta, thank you for taking the time to come here today.
Thank you for having me on. I'm very excited to be here.
We talked about how the timing couldn't be more perfect with what you're doing, like the work that you're currently doing in the world with your group. And I'm not surprised. That's how things work. What's your experience with that? Why don't we start with that?
Oh, I love that. It's so I love that. That's the best. It really kind of goes to show when, I don't know, this is my belief anyway, and I feel like you would resonate with this, but it goes to show like the more you do the work and like the more you follow, your soul's calling, like you pull on those threads, the doors just kind of show you that you're going in the right direction.
Yes. It's like at this point, it sounds corny, but everybody knows I'm not a corny person. It is delightful to see, like, when you're in alignment and you're doing things that light you up and you feel alive and you're leading with heart and authenticity. It's so fun to see like what is dropping in. And it's starting to feel like everything is purposeful to me. So it's like, okay, so Marta reached out, wants to be on the podcast. That now feels purposeful. It doesn't just feel like, cool, let's connect. We're two women doing cool work in the world. That's enough, by the way, but it gets to be even juicier than that. Like, oh, there's a reason we're supposed to be having this private conversation for this select group of women that are going to hear it. And so today, to hear that, you're leading a group of people through grief and into joy, and like you're talking about how perfectionism kills creativity as you're getting ready to talk on the Unperfected Pod. But none of us, we didn't plan for that, guys.
No,
Never.
no. And it literally last night was the module.
Oh
Last
my
night was the
God.
module, and it was so interesting where I didn't even put two and two together until I was looking at my schedule. I'm like, oh, I have that podcast with Brooke today, and it's the Unperfected Pod, and I'm like, oh my God, it's perfect timing.
Yeah, and this is also why we don't have to stress about things like podcasts. And like when you're really like embodying the work that you do, it's like you can just show up and be you, and we're going to have a great conversation. You don't need to plan, you don't need to perfect, you don't need to prepare. It's like, yeah, your group last night was more than enough preparation for a conversation today. It's like fresh as a daisy in your mind.
Yes,
I love it.
it really is, and it just goes to show you, for anybody listening to this, I bought a new microphone. I wanted better
Equipment.
visuals, better equipment. I wanted to upgrade, and it hardly works. So I couldn't get it started for this today. And then as I'm teaching the module last night for the participants, I made like a video
Mhm.
for the entrance for Unleashing Creative Joy. I was like, oh, I want a video, I want sound. None of
Mhm.
it worked. None of it worked, like at all. You can share the screen, and you see like my little arrow, like trying to do the thing, and then it failed completely, like miserably. And then I came on the module laughing because it was just like, this is
Splendid.
perfect. We're
Yeah.
going to talk about perfectionism.
Oh my gosh. And we're going to embrace the messy and roll with it.
Yeah.
Every day there's a tech issue in my world. And at this point, I'm just like, it's laughable. It's so ridiculous. It's laughable. It's just, you know what? We just keep trying, babe. We just keep
Yeah.
trying. And eventually we're going to click a button that works. It just ain't today.
It's not today. And today we're going to laugh, and we're going to, you know, laugh that we tried. I mean, we
Yes.
tried. That's number one, right?
Oh my gosh, totally. So tell us about the beautiful work that you do in the world and how you came into that.
Oy.
Right.
So my work is, I lead individuals back to their magic after loss. So whether that's in life, whether that's in business, whatever that is, it's to find their truth, find their power again, to step into joy and presence and peace.
Mm.
And I came to that, never thinking I would do this work ever, ever, ever. But after a series of losses in my life, so I got in a car, like, everybody's got that first heartache, right? Everybody's got that
Mm,
first heartbreak that just like
mm, mm. That
knocks
we
them
never get
down,
over and
that we
traumatizes us our
never get
whole lives,
over.
and no one even talks about it. I'm like, oh no,
Nobody talks about it.
that's a thing. We all have a first heartbreak, and that's literally like molded our attachment style,
Oh,
and no one talks about it.
nobody talks about it. But
Totally.
I would say my story boils down to my three big losses of my life. So it's my first heartbreak.
Mm,
Um, and right after that, I began the journey of finding myself again,
mm,
and not really knowing I was grieving, just knowing it was hard. My heart was broken. I
mm,
started traveling. I traveled the world. I did a lot of solo travel. And then I got in a car accident in 2019, and I was becoming yoga certified at the time. I was teaching meditation at the time, and that really took away my mobility, like the way that I knew how to move through
oh
the world.
wow. Wow.
And so that that really shaped and molded me.
That's a whole
And
nother type of loss that we
it's
also don't talk about. Loss
no,
of your normal body function.
yeah. Yeah, I
Wow.
was really pushing myself to be perfect at that
Mm,
time.
mm,
I was going to hot yoga like 6 days a week. I was in headstands and handstands. I had come back from being over like 200 pounds and was like really pushing myself. And then that got cut down. So I went inward with that. And then after that, I began to develop like really start to go into the mind because that's what I had at the time. So I really started to sit with meditation. I started to look into more deeply personal development. I began coaching individuals that were reaching out, wanting to be coached by shifting habits and patterns. I created a program called 3 to Be Me Journey. And I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. These are the things that brought me kind of back to life and what I've learned. And then my sister got diagnosed with double hit B cell lymphoma that the summer of 2020, right smack in COVID, like right in the middle of COVID. And she died the next year on April
wow.
5th, 2021.
Whoa. So
Yeah.
we just hit an anniversary.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Last Saturday.
Whoa.
And yeah, it's been 4 years.
Wow.
And she was my person,
Mm,
like we all have that person. She was my person.
mm,
And yeah, it was excruciating. And so I was in the middle of coaching. I was in the middle of my program and just kind of tabled everything, and went and honored my grief and explored my grief. I walked myself to death. Like I walked
mm,
and walked and walked until I couldn't walk anymore.
mm,
And then I really explored my grief. So I
mm,
went into something called the grief recovery method and really honored it. I took classes and like a 5-month workshop with one of my favorite authors, uh, Francis Weller,
mhm,
and really just dedicated my life to healing my own pain of my grief and understand it
mm.
and really rebuild this relationship with my sister and what it
Mm.
looks like now.
Oh,
And yeah,
whoa,
because people
girl.
don't really think of that. Like the relationship is
Mm.
still
There.
there.
It's different though.
It's different. We're in very two different places.
So what made you so curious about the grief? Like so many people when they go through that degree of excruciating pain, run the opposite way and we numb and we drink and we drug and we do all the things.
Oh yeah.
But your like, and I don't want to say intuition, but your instinct was to lean in. What was that?
I just knew that was where I needed to go. At the time I was becoming sober as well.
Wow.
So it was like all at once. It
Wow.
was a great time to do it.
Yeah.
Um, but I've always been that person that has been curious about the mysteries of the universe and always been the person that wants to have the deeper conversations.
Mm.
And my sister was the one that we had those conversations with.
Mm.
So leaning into grief, I just it was what I had to do. There was no other question. There was no
You
other
just knew.
question. I just
Mhm.
knew.
Mhm.
And once I became more educated about it and like unraveled like just the myths and misinformation that we have about it and how it's just shrouded in shame, I kind of became like obsessed with it because I was like, wow, we just don't
Get
talk
it.
about it.
And we don't
We
get it.
don't get it. We don't honor it as a
We don't
sacred
honor it.
act.
Mm-mm.
We don't. And it's
Mm-mm.
sad. It was very sad to me. And so I started this work, working with individuals on like rediscovering themselves after loss, walking with them through their grief, honoring the relationships they had with, and they have with people that have passed, but also like educational and talking about grief and understanding it. And and then that just kept morphing because the grief journey is wild.
Mm.
It's just wild.
Mm-hmm. And
It's just
unpredictable
wild.
and
It's
never ending.
unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
It's never
Mm-hmm.
ending. It's unpredictable. And yeah, it's important to me. It's really important to me.
Mm. So what did you learn about grief in that time? Like
How
what's
much
one
time
or
do we have, Brooke?
what's yeah, I was gonna say, let me narrow that down. What's
Yeah,
one
no,
or
no, no. You
two?
don't have to. I got it. I'm like, oh no. I could like give the quickest little tutorial of things that I want people to take away
Yeah. All
so
right, give us
deeply.
that. Give us that. Give it to us, girl.
Grief is not linear. It is a
Mm,
spiral.
mm,
So stop comparing yourself to other people's grief. There are no stages of grief for the grievers.
mm,
Stages of grief are for the people dying. And what ends up happening is when we do the stages of grief for people that are grieving, we end up comparing our grief or thinking we are on some timeline, which we are not. And it ends up just stunting our healing and stunting our growth because we feel like we should be somewhere. We feel like we're doing it wrong.
mm,
And that's really not the case.
mm,
That and the number one thing that I try to speak about quite a lot is that vulnerability is a superpower, and asking for help is actually one of the strongest things that you can do, even though we were raised to not do it. We were raised to grieve alone, to keep our chin up, to isolate and not be a burden to others, when really, like, we need collectively as a community, as like a world, to have a village and really open to that, really, really open our vulnerability in our hearts. Yeah.
mm. Yeah. And I feel like when you really get that last piece that you just articulated so beautifully, at least for me anyway, it opened up so much more compassion because so many people are walking around in the world right now grieving something. And we're grieving things individually and we're grieving things collectively.
Yes.
And we have no supports in managing and working through and navigating the grief. And so, and yet it's this pain that is like indescribable and it's kind of always there. It's just louder sometimes than others. And when you understand that that is like part of being human, is that we go through this really excruciating thing, you just end up having more compassion because it's like, I don't know what that, I have to sneeze, excuse me.
Bless you. Bless you.
Excuse me, thank you. I don't know what that person is going through, but I can only imagine that it's a lot and they're doing it alone because we don't have enough support to grieve in community. I mean, dude, especially here in America, you get 2 days off if it's like your husband. And
It
then you're supposed
is
to go back to
sad.
work like I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. It's pretty
And
sad.
it's wild to me. It's
Yeah.
wild to me.
It's very sad. It's
Mm,
wild. It just has a full spectrum and a full gambit of emotion. I just recorded a module for my Home to the Heart program, which is like, it's re-educating yourself on grief. It's untangling it and really looking at it as a sacred act. And
mm,
I've been doing and deep diving research into other cultures
mm.
and the way that they honor grief. And we are slacking. We are, we are screwing this up. Like, there are so many, the way that they, like, movement is really, really important to me. It's like
Mhm.
one of my modalities that I work with, and somatic movement, and the way that they dance
Mm.
Like they just dance.
They dance and cry and
Dance, they
scream and
cry,
chant
they
and
wail.
express. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Yeah.
And we need to do that not only when we lose someone we love, but there's also like so much life loss and it compounds. It's like we've lost our first loves, we've lost identities, we've lost being single before we got married, we lost before we became mothers, we lost home and nostalgia to things that we loved when we were children, we lost people we love, we lost things we believed in that we put on a pedestal. So it's like, but nobody wants to honor any of that. We're only supposed to be excited about the next thing, which I am excited about the next thing, but only when I can honor what was, because what was is what carries me into the next thing. And I'm not me if I'm not honoring all that. Like I remember having this huge epiphany, Marta, when I got married, because I waited a long time to marry my husband because I had my son in college and I didn't marry my son's dad. So I met my husband when my son was 1, and I waited 8 years to marry him. And then we got married, and then we waited another forever years to have my daughter. So I have 2 kids that are 14 years apart. And I remember grieving getting married. And there was nowhere to name that without looking like an ungrateful bastard. And I was grieving who I was before I was in this serious relationship. I was even grieving being a single mom because there was something energetically of me in Camden against the world. Well, now it's me and this dude in Camden. Like I was having all these feelings, but I didn't know how to verbalize them. I didn't know what it meant. Of course, society conditioning was like labeling it, I'm not ready, or he's the wrong guy, or whatever. But it's like, no, guys, it's just like, this is a massive part of who I've been. And now it's different. And while I'm stoked about the future and I'm stoked about the wedding and I'm stoked about the honeymoon, what the fuck do I do with who I just was for the last 8 years of my 30-year-old life? Like, that's significant.
It's
We need to be
huge.
grieving those things too in
Oh
our
yeah.
rituals of dance and crying and journaling and movement and just normalizing it, because it's not about getting stuck there. It's about just like honoring it so you can like, because I almost feel like there is, and this might be controversial, but there is like, I don't know if I want to call it magic. There's medicine or something that is like in the depths of your pain.
Oh no, it's magic.
Okay, say more about this because I feel like you get it.
It it is absolute magic. And you're right. All of these things are losses because the definition of grief is the natural reaction to change of any kind.
Mm.
Any kind. And those are changes. Like you getting married is a change. It's a big change and it's a loss of like who you were, who you are. It like when we move houses, when we move towns, it's a loss of all of that. But when we acknowledge, like you said, like when we acknowledge the loss, when we acknowledge the pain of what we went through, the magic comes from realizing that everybody has experienced something like this.
Mm.
Everyone has
Mm.
pain. Everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you said, it cultivates compassion and it cultivates grace. And that
Mm.
is
Ooh,
what we
maybe
need right
that's the
now.
magic.
That's the magic because that's what we need right now in our world. I fully believe there's a couple things that really bring people together that we share like experiences around, and it's like the pain of grief is worldwide. The pain of grief is worldwide. Creativity is like something that's shared. They're like the two things that are like the same.
Universal.
They're
Mm-hmm.
the two things that are universal, and it's it's wild to me. It's wild to me that it's just completely shrouded in shame. And the people that I work with, it's all ancestral. It's all
Mm.
what was handed down to us. Like what our grandfathers, what our grandmothers learned about it. And it's not our fault. It's also society. It's society. It's what was handed down to us. And then once we start to unravel that and become aware, like mindfully aware of our losses and relearn all about it, it's just something happens. All of our relationships get better because now you see your friends, your family, your mom, that
Hmm.
your mom was a human before she had you.
Mm.
She
Mm-hmm.
had losses, right? Like she had
Mm-hmm.
pain, she had losses, she had grief, she had a journey.
Yes.
And
Yes.
suddenly your relationships now have more magic because you see them. You're not just isolated in your little bubble
Mm-hmm.
thinking you're the only one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that feels pretty big to me. The whole in the depths of your pain, you connect to grace. And like grace is what? I feel like grace, I mean, maybe we even talk about what it means to you because it could mean different things to different people, but it's almost like it's one of our forgotten superpowers. So how
But it's
would you
hard to access.
yeah, like how do you describe grace? What is grace to you? And why is it
I,
important?
oh my goodness. I describe grace as seeing someone as a divine soul and human being, like
Mm,
both at the same time. That
mm,
they have pain, that they have a story, that
mm,
I have no freaking clue what they're going through or where they came from.
mm,
Like, it was so wonderful when you're married, your ideas kind of rub off on the other person sometimes,
mhm,
or they like watch you and like something happens and you learn from one another. But I
mhm,
remember my husband used to get so upset
mm.
when someone would flick him off in traffic or something would happen, right? Like in traffic, and he wouldn't let it go. He would
Mm.
just be like the anger,
The trigger was
the
triggering.
trigger, so triggering. And then we would talk about it, and he would hear, about my grief work. We would talk about all the things that were happening. And we would just sit and think to ourselves, what could have happened in that person's day? Or how much pain must they be in
Mm,
to inflict that on someone else?
mm,
Like,
mm,
how much pain must they be in? Well, maybe his wife was pregnant. Maybe he just lost his job. Maybe he just found out he had cancer. Like we don't know.
mhm,
And I will tell you, that has created such freedom.
mm,
Like, it's just such freedom within myself and others that I see when they find this sort of grace. It's
mm,
the friction, the mental friction is
mm,
like
mm,
released.
mhm. Yeah, that's so huge. It's like I can even feel it in myself. Like when I'm not in a good place, that's when I'm short-tempered with people on the road. That's when I'm having negative thoughts or snarky or whatever. And when I'm good, when I'm actually good and I'm in a good place and I've had my morning ritual and I am like, I remembered my divine beingness and I'm connected, those things I can see them with that grace. I really truly can. And it's like other people can be like a mirror, they can become a mirror for us when we're not in our own grace first, because I get triggered when I'm not in a good place, but I realize it based on, how I'm feeling about my interactions with other people. And so I think it starts with us first, right? Like we've got to connect. We've got to do the practices that make us feel deeply connected and held and loved and supported and be in our own divinity so that we can hold others in theirs when they're not actively in it. And as you hold people through grief, I hold people through trauma and all sorts of things. It's so important for us as practitioners, as guides, to be able to see people in their divinity no matter what is presenting. And that's easy for me to do with clients. It's not as easy for me to do with strangers and my husband.
Yes. It's hard. Very
Yeah.
hard.
But think about the world that we would be living in right now if we were all actively just working on this, just 1 degree more. If I've just 1 degree more was holding everyone in the world in their divinity, irregardless of this mess that's showing up, what would be possible for us collectively if we all did this work to just one degree of grace, 1 degree of compassion? Holy shit, it'd be a different world.
It would be a different world.
It really would.
And it sounds so simple, but these are things that are just not talked about enough. They're not taught in schools.
Mm-mm.
You know, children are taught at a very young age the modeling of what it is. It's like replace the loss, grieve alone,
Move on.
keep your chin up, move
No,
on, stay busy,
toughen up, toughen up.
toughen up. Time heals all wounds. And no,
Oh yeah.
no,
Yeah, you really want to trigger somebody, say time heals all
right?
wounds.
Yeah,
It's like, well, that's actually not how grief works, my loves. I'm
it's
sorry
not.
to let you know, but that tsunami is coming for you. And it doesn't matter if it's been a minute or a decade or 12 decades. Like, you never know. You never know
You
when the
don't.
grief is going to be a tsunami today. And you
Yeah.
just learn to ride. What has grief taught you about you?
Oh my.
To
Oh,
enjoy.
yeah. No.
But
Oh,
it's such a teacher, right? We know that pain is such a teacher. And it's like you went on this gorgeous and courageous journey of really facing your pain.
yeah.
And I know that that taught you something about you, because one of the thoughts that I've been pondering lately is like, let's take loss as an example. Does loss change us, or does it actually bring us closer to the divinity of who we are? This is one of the
Exactly.
philosophical questions that I fucking think about randomly at 3 a.m. And so when I think about going through loss and like what it reveals to us about us, I can't help but feel like it brings us back to the wholeness and the divinity of who we are. And I feel like it also changes us. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Everything that you just said, I
Mm-hmm.
agree with. Everything. For me, it showed me, how much I love.
Mm-hmm.
Like, truly. Like, it showed me how much I love. It showed me how I was focused on things that were not important. Like, it showed me my ego. It showed me a kind of spiritual opening that I had numbed out with alcohol for a really long time and closed off.
Mm.
It showed me the way home. It really did. Like, my trust, my faith in myself, believing in myself, my resilience. It showed me my resilience, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
And it showed me other people's resilience. Like, I see my parents in a completely different light. I see my brother in a completely different light. I see my friends, family, strangers, human beings in a completely different way.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you're brought back to that grace, like that's who we really are. Our judgments, our fears, our othering, our
Mhm.
separation, that's taught, that's conditioning. But what this pain revealed to you was really the oneness that's
Yes.
actually here, which is just like, it's hard being a human and we're doing the best we can.
It's hard being a human. We're doing the best we can, and yeah, just that and also that I think one of the most important things is to keep our lights on.
Mm.
Like, that it's not selfish to keep your light on, that it's one of the most important things you can do to kind of pass that torch to the next person.
Hmm. Yes. Okay. So let's transition into that, because another unpopular thought that I might have, which I think you agree with, is that we need joy in our grieving process. We need joy in this shit show of being a human. And I don't care what's happening. You get to still have a break from your pain and laugh and shake your ass. Like, if we don't, what is going to happen? So let's talk about that.
It's both. It's being in your grief is embracing sorrow in one hand and joy in the other, because it's the full spectrum of living. It gives you the full spectrum of living, like to really taste everything. And this is so poignant, talking about creative joy and, like at this moment, like where I am in my life at this moment, I took myself so seriously after my sister died.
Mm.
Like I was studying grief, I was, into coaching, everything was serious. And I was sober as well. So like I completely also thought I was not fun anymore, because people were
You're
like,
like,
"You're
I'm
not
a real
fun
good time.
anymore."
I am a real good time over here with my grief and my hot tea.
Right? I'm like, who wants to cuddle on the couch and have a good cry? Who wants to do that? That's anyone?
Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ginger
And then you're,
turmeric? Anyone?
it's
No. This is amazing.
ginger turmeric.
I'm ready
I'll
for it.
pass.
Exactly. So there's something that happens in your grief. So one of the things that I I love to do that really brought me back to life is I am also a play facilitator. So I'll go into schools, I'll go into corporations, and I incorporate play into my work
I love that.
because it is essential.
I
Like
love
it is essential. So I found improv, the practice of improv. I come from a musical theater background, and like improv showed me the way back to playing again, to
that.
creative play, which is now like one of my four pillars of healing the pain of grief. So it's creative play.
Mm.
And truly, because I became such a serious wanker. Like I was just, everything became serious. Everything became personal development. My poor husband, it I also at the same time was closing my heart to others around me because I didn't want to get hurt again.
Yeah.
So it was getting serious, closing the heart.
Mm.
And my sister is the one that started to shift everything for me because she kept coming through in different ways. And at one point, I like heard her voice a bunch of times, and it's like, play more, play more, play more. And people would randomly message me being like, your sister's telling me to tell you to play. Like
Wow.
all of
Wow.
these things from all aspects. It
Wow.
is just shoving in my face because I'm a
Yeah.
very playful person,
Right.
very playful person.
Yeah.
And that was lost.
Mm.
And I didn't think it was part of my identity anymore. I didn't
Mm.
know who I was.
Mm.
And that came flooding back in when I gave myself permission to play and to be creative and use creativity as an outlet for healing, and use creativity as an outlet for rediscovering my soul, like really getting back in touch with the soul of and the truth of who I am, and my joy and my
Mm.
pleasure, and like not
Mm.
feeling guilty about
Mm.
it, not
Mhm.
feeling guilty to be alive.
Mm.
Like it's a thing
Yeah.
nobody talks about. Like it's a thing.
Yes. Yes.
It's a thing.
Yeah. I
And
don't
it
think
really
people realize
honors
how
the
healing it
people.
is. Yes.
It is, and it's the way now that I see that I honor my sister is
Mm.
by my fullest expression, my play, my pleasure, my joy. It's kind of a no-brainer if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like you are here, you are living. She is on a different place. The way to celebrate her and honor her and all of my ancestors and anyone that has passed, it's literally to be the fullest expression of yourself.
Yes. Yes. Period.
Period. Like
Period.
doop, doop.
Yes, but what I love about your work, Marta, is like I feel like people need that permission, that like hand of like, hey, I know you've been grieving and come with me and let's go dance. Let's go create.
Yes.
Let's go do improv. Like it's okay now because you do get to a point where you're tired of the pain
So
and
tired.
you're wondering, can I experience pleasure? Can I be playful? Can I have fun? And so I think we need to reach out to those people and be like, yes, my love, always. Like, of course, let's go shake it out. Let's go dance it out. Let's go do all the things. But I do feel like we feel like we're supposed to grieve a certain way.
Hmm.
And we feel bad or we're going to get judged if we're out having a good time too soon.
Yes.
And it's
Yep.
like, y'all, the grief is never going to go away. So there is no too soon. If you're waiting until you're done, you're going to wait till you're dead. And then your sister's going to be real pissed at you when you connect with her in the afterlife that you did that.
Hells to the yes, she would. She'd be
Right?
mad as hell.
Mad as hell.
She'd be mad as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just wild how we compare. You know,
Mm,
it's wild how we hold ourselves up to this perfection that we have
mhm,
to like do grief perfectly,
mm,
you know, not be judged in our grief and for living the way that we want to live and for taking pleasure and play and joy and owning it.
mm,
You know, the anniversary of my sister's death was on Saturday,
mm,
and I was okay.
mm,
I was okay.
mm,
And that was a date that loomed over me for the past however many years of like, oh my God, I got to do this. I should be doing this. Oh, it's got to be this. I got to be perfect. I work in grief. Of course, I should throw something like all of these
mm,
things, right?
mm,
Oh, yeah. Like, and,
mhm,
and I found myself on the day just feeling at rest
mm,
and having more space.
mm,
Like, I have more space now for
mm,
joy. I have more space for play. And I felt great. Like and it was so funny because at the time I'm like I paused and I was almost looking for something to be wrong.
mm,
You know? I
mhm,
was looking for something to be wrong. And I think something that happens,
mm,
and I know for me it happened in my grief where there's like this anticipatory grief of waiting for the other shoe to drop. So you never fully feel settled and at rest or safe. And I felt safe.
mm.
Like
Beautiful.
the whole week I felt safe and it was so beautiful because I paused and I was like I don't need to look for something that's wrong.
Mm,
I I'm okay.
wow. Yeah, if we're having a good day, ladies, ride that puppy all the way home.
Ride it hard.
Like
Ride it hard.
literally. Like, this is, I have goosebumps. This is what I do with my mental health. It's like, I know not every day is going to be perfect. I know that I have no idea what's coming, but if today is good, girl, I'm not waiting for the foot to drop. I am not doing anything to sabotage it anymore. I am going to let myself feel good as long as I can because then I build the strength to carry the down and I can just rest in the down without trying to pretend like I'm better than I am. But if I don't soak up all the juicy benefits of riding the high, then I don't feel strong enough to rest when I'm down. And I fall into the perfectionist performative pattern, which
Oof.
further deteriorates my soul.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. It you have to ride that wave because it is literally changing your codes. It is changing your DNA when you stick with it. You
Yes.
know, when you compound it and you stick with it and it's
Yes.
like, oh, and then it lasts longer and longer and longer. And then soon you will wake up and you'll wonder when the last time you had a dip, when you like that will be less and less and less.
Yes.
You'll be less and less in the fog, less and less depressed, less and less in pain and sorrow, and you'll be more in joy. And you'll wonder, it's so funny. I often think about this, but I feel that it's so hard to sometimes remember how hard something was.
Mm.
Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
once you're past it,
Yeah,
you've learned it.
it's why we like, if you're a mom, have a second child. You're like, why would anybody do that again?
It
Why?
happens, and you're like, wait a minute.
Why would we do that again? Why the hell would we do that again? Right? But yeah, anything hard that we've gone through, it's like we get amnesia. We're like, oh, I could
Totally
do that
amnesia.
again.
Totally
Yeah.
amnesia. And it's
Yeah.
the same thing with like compounding this joy.
Yes.
You'll wonder when was the last time I felt it really in a funk? It'll be less and less and less.
Mm-hmm.
It really will.
And you'll have a whole new tool belt of things that you've explored while you were feeling good to then utilize. Like this, I recently had just like a massive dip with depression, or I'm a mid-aged woman. I don't fucking know what my problems are anymore. And I'm not here to diagnose them. I don't know if it's depression. I don't know if it's perimenopause. I don't know if it's the food that I'm eating, and I don't fucking care. The bottom line is your girl went down, and she went down hard for longer than usual.
Oh my
But
God.
guess what I did? I did a whole series on dancing through my depression.
Yes.
Because when I was feeling good, I got back into dance and I started somatically moving my body. And I started going outside in between clients and dancing in the sun and earthing and all these things that when I hit this dip, I was like, oh, I have a new tool that I get to use. I can just roll onto the floor,
Yeah.
stretch my body to some like 9-inch fucking nails and get the fuck up and dance. And that is what carried me through this last bout. And
Oof.
for that's why we have to ride and juice. What I hear you saying is juice the good moments.
Yes.
Juice the joy. How good does it get to get? How good can you feel? Because that is the strength that carries us through. And those are the tools that you use if you hit a dip or a wave in the grief that is like a tsunami.
Yeah. You're exactly right. Like, what is in your tool belt? Dancing is numero uno. It's like dancing meditation is like
Yep.
the two that are just like, oh my God.
Yes. Can't do
Oh
life
my.
without. Mine
Can't
is
do it.
dancing, meditation, breath work, and sunlight. Those 4 things, if they're in my life every single day, I'm going to be okay no matter what.
Yes. Yep.
I am still going to show
Foundationally.
up. Yes.
They're
Those
my
4.
they're my baseline.
Yes.
You have to have your baseline. You have
Yes.
to.
Yes.
And then like you have to have the things that tether you.
Yes.
Right? Like those aren't things that are like you go to the gym once and then you expect results. Like they are the things that you practice consistently.
Every day.
Every day. They
As
are
much
your
as,
baseline.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have more space.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have more space.
Yes. You grow your window of tolerance. Like my road rage when I don't meditate is obviously so much worse. And I'm like, oh, I know why I'm so annoyed by everybody, because I didn't meditate this morning. It's literally, I can see the difference the same day when I don't do my morning ritual and I don't have all my practices that help me get grounded and in alignment. I get pulled out and my window of tolerance is small very quickly. If I take care of myself and I do all these things, the window of tolerance is wide open and I can move, just energy can just move through me and around me. But we have to, these things, guys, have to be a non-negotiable. They're not nice to haves anymore.
No.
It's not selfish to have a morning routine or a yoga practice or a dancing. Like, I'm done with that narrative. I've been done since 2022. In case you haven't been following along, we are now prioritizing those things.
Yes.
Because those are essentials. They're not nice to haves.
Yeah, they are essentials. They have
are
to
essentials. They have to be. And only
they're different
can prioritize
for every
them.
person.
Yes.
Yeah, they're different
Find your
for
combo.
every single person. Find your combo that works. Mine is writing, it's meditation, it's movement, it's energy work. It's like boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
Gotta have them.
Literally. All right, my love. So there's been so many juicy nuggets here. I really appreciate you being so vulnerable and talking about your beautiful sister who I just know is with us.
Mm,
Um, cheering you on that you got the message about the play.
I did. Thanks, Neen.
She's
Thank you. Yeah, she constantly she comes through, and it's just like, oh, yes, I know I'm being a complete goober right now, like in the middle of something, and she just loves it. So
Oh, I recently had a medium tell me that my son's father, so baby daddy number one, who I'm not with, his mom Frankie passed away a couple years ago, and I adore Frankie. We all adore Frankie. She is a rare, one of a kind, extraordinary being. And she wanted the medium to tell me to keep dancing in this one space in my house that I always dance. It's between my kitchen and my living room, and it's a open, and before I put a table in there, I waited for years to put a table because I wanted it to be my dance floor. And I
oh
just
yes,
dance, and I dance with my daughter, and even just like in between clients I dance. And so to hear that Frankie is like cheering me on, like, never stop dancing in the kitchen, never stop dancing in the kitchen. It's like that also helps with grief because you're like, we're always guided, supported. They're with us, you guys.
hmm
And they're cheering us on. I mean, even the fact that you and I are connecting, it's like you're a playful person, I'm a playful person. We're probably supposed to be in each other's orbs so we can
yeah,
keep dancing and playing. And we're
yes,
not doing that alone. Like a lot of shit had to happen for us to connect and to be having this conversation. You're in Pittsburgh, I'm in Denver. Like, how cool is that? That was
yeah,
orchestrated for us to connect so we can keep playing. And that gives me hope too when shit gets hard. Is like, it's like your loved ones are watching and they're seeing, are you still having fun or are you letting this eat you? Because they don't want that, and you know they don't want that.
no, they do not want that. They want you to follow your fun, like follow your fun.
Oh,
That's when everything opens,
mm,
and it requires trying new things,
mm-hmm.
to say
Dude,
yes to things, to like
yes.
really just like a little tapas platter,
Oh my God,
right?
I
I mean,
love
come
a good
on.
tapas
Like a little,
platter.
who doesn't love a tapas
I
platter?
could
I mean,
live
come
off
on.
tapas platters.
Anybody can live off tapas, and you try a little of this, and you say like, "Oh, that's okay," and but I'm only gonna have a little
Oh,
bit of that.
oh
But
my
this one, can I
God.
get seconds on this one? Can I have
Oh,
another one of these, please?
yes. Oh my God, I call them tapas though. Am I wrong? Or does it where
Tapas.
you're from?
Yeah, it's totally where you're from.
A good meat and cheese board, honey. That is
Oh,
just life. That is life right there. But you're absolutely right. Find your things that make you feel alive, that make you feel like you create your little, you know, cluster of them. Use your tools, feel your pain,
yes.
feel the joy too. Like we were meant to feel all of it. And so just thank you, Marta, for coming on and sharing your story and sharing some of these beautiful teachings. I know that you're inspiring people. We need more grief doulas like you that are normalizing grief, talking about grief, ushering people through grief, reminding people that it's okay to live through grief. All of it is so needed. So keep doing your work in the world. And to the listener, if you made it to this point, thank you so much for hanging with us. I will talk to you all very soon. But thank you, Marta, for coming on the show.
Thank you, Brooke. It was a pleasure.
Talk soon.
Bye.
Hey, boo, if you made it this far, I know you're serious about healing, revealing, and rising, living a life unperfected. Just by showing up, you're telling the universe, I matter. I'm ready. So don't be surprised if things start shifting in your favor. If this episode moved you, do me a favor. Rate and review the podcast on Apple or Spotify. It helps us reach more high-achieving, high-performing women who are ready to stop pretending and start living. And if something really landed, DM me on Instagram at Brooke Jean Unperfected or share a clip and tag me. I want to see what's moving through you. And hey, don't forget, you can watch this episode on YouTube and join my brand new VidMe membership for exclusive content, coaching, and community for only $35 a month. We're not just talking about rising, we're doing it. together